Hello, if you've been here before, welcome back. If not, hi, my name is David. I make videos talking about media that I want to talk about. This is my edition of the Quick to Judge book tag. I was tagged by the Reading Wordsmith, and this tag was created by Ali Rizdal, and it is a fun little TBR game where you have to pick 5 to 10 unread books from your shelves and read the first paragraph of each. And then I rank them based on how interesting they were. So this is like quick to judge. And yeah, this sounded like a really fun thing to do. And I will pick the 5 books, read the paragraphs, and then y'all watching at home will pause and guess which one of the 5 books that I pick will be the top of the ranking. And then you come back and watch me prove you correct or prove you incorrect. We shall see. So, very fun. This is the shelf that I have all of the books that I have yet to read. And by serendipity, I have exactly 20 books here. So, what I'm going to do is number them 1 to 20. Can you even see that? They're all numbered. I don't know if the camera will pick it up, but they are numbered 1 to 20. And that's a perfect number for a D20. I fished this out of my storage. I don't play D&D anymore, but I fished it out. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to roll the dice, pick 5 books from there, and then we'll start ranking them. I want to see if I can catch some good ASMR rolls. Did you hear that? First roll is 3. So that book is going to be The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. Most of these books I got from thrift books. This was also a book I got from thrift books. And all I know about this is this second book of Arundhati Roy. She wrote one of my favorite books ever, The God of Small Things. And I wanted to read this one. It's about a trans woman in India and meets many different types of people. I don't fully know what to expect, but Arundhati Roy is definitely an amazing author. And so we'll see how this ranks with the other ones. Next roll. It fell. Next roll. Number 4. This is Running Out of Time by Margaret Peterson Haddix. I also got this book off of thrift books, and it's specifically because I read this when I was really, really young. And it's about a young girl who lives in this village that's set in the 1700s. And she realizes that to be able to save maybe like a friend or family member of hers, she has to leave the village to get some medicine. And turns out they're actually living in the 20th century. And so this has been compared to M. Night Shyamalan's The Village. And I think this came out way before. And so there's been issues of like, hey, this is basically the same concept. But I remember reading this when I was younger. And I was like, you know what? Let me revisit it and then maybe also send it off to my sister. And so Margaret Peterson Haddix, I've read a handful of her things when I was younger, but this will be the first book that I will read eventually as an adult. Third roll. Let me get some ASMR here. That's a 3 again. That's an 8. Ooh. Titan's Curse, Rick Riordan. Third book of the Percy Jackson series. I've been rereading these. Obviously, you know, you love it. Percy Jackson. Super excited to revisit this one. Between the first and second books, I know a lot more about because there were the movies that were really bad that came out, and then the show that only had the first season. So the first and second books I remembered a lot about, but then this third one coming in, I don't remember that much. So really excited to see how that turns out. Fourth roll is a 1. Now, number 1 is the Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy Short Stories of 2016. This one's going to be an asterisk because these are 20 different short stories written by different authors. This was edited by Karen Joy Fowler. I'm not familiar with this author, but they are editing this. And so the first paragraph of the first story is not indicative of how the entire book is going to be. But it's definitely very important as the first story presented to draw a reader in. So we shall see how this one holds up. And can we get a higher number, please? Can we just get one higher number that's bigger than 10, maybe? Hopefully. We shall see. 16! Ooh. Ooh. The Court Dancer. So The Court Dancer is by Kyung Suk Shin, and so Kyung Suk Shin wrote one of my other favorite books ever, Please Look After Mom. And I think that Please Look After Mom and The God of Small Things, Arundhati Roy, compete with each other in terms of one of my favorite books ever. And so this court, I don't fully remember what this one's about, but it was Kyung Suk Shin. I was like, I need to read more Kyung Suk Shin. It is a Korean novel that was translated by Anton Her, and this was published in 2018. I don't exactly quite remember what this is about. Set during the dramatic final years of the Korean Empire, the new novel from Man Asian Literary Prize winner Kyung Suk Shin, she won that for Please Look After Mom, features a mysterious dancer caught up in the dizzying sweep of history. So I have the 5 picks that I have to rank. We're going to read the first paragraph of each book and see which ones sound interesting and rank them. Starting with The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. Chapter 1, Where Do Old Birds Go to Die? She lived in the graveyard like a tree. At dawn she saw the crows off and welcomed the bats home. At dusk she did the opposite. Between shifts she conferred with the ghosts of vultures that loomed in her high branches. She felt the gentle grip of their talons like an ache in an amputated limb. She gathered they weren't altogether unhappy at having excused themselves and exited from the story. Okay. Don't know how I feel about that, but it's definitely a nice little snippet into this character's life. Next is Running Out of Time by Margaret Peterson Haddix. Chapter 1. The light woke Jessie, though it was just a glimmer downstairs. She eased out of bed, being careful not to disturb her sister Hannah. This paragraph's pretty small, so I'm just gonna go to the very end of the dialogue. Ma, Jessie whispered by the ladder down from the loft. In a few moments, her mother's tired face appeared below, illuminated by a flickering candle. It's the Bentons, she said. Caleb says both Sally and Betsy are sick. Ooh, interesting. I don't know if it's cheating or not, because it's it was barely a paragraph, so I had to add more on. So we'll see, but it definitely immediately presents the conflict there. Third pick, The Titan's Curse by Rick Riordan. Chapter 1, My rescue operation goes very wrong. The Friday before winter break, my mom packed me an overnight bag and a few deadly weapons and took me to a new boarding school. We picked up my friends Annabeth and Talia on their way. I forget if it's Talia? I'm sorry. I think that's enough a paragraph for me. So I think I'm just gonna leave it there. A really funny little slight joke there, I guess. My mom packed my things and a few deadly weapons. That's pretty cute. Next is The Best American Science Fiction and Fantasy, 2016, edited by Karen Joy Fowler. And the first story is Meet Me in Iram by Sophia Samatar. Sophia Samatar, I've read many of her short stories prior, and they've been hit or misses, but she's been consistently a really good writer. We are familiar with gold, says Hume, and also with mountains. Therefore, we are able to imagine a golden mountain. This idea may serve as an origin myth for Iram, the unconstructed city. Ooh. These anthology books have been amazing. Sophia Samatar tends to lead these books. I've read at least 2 other anthologies that lead with a story by Sophia Samatar, so interesting pick. And last but not least, The Court Dancer by Kyung Suk Shin. Chapter 1, 2 People. It took 4 whole days to reach the harbor. The winding mountain road led to a new highway covered with dust, which carried them to a gravel path that overlooked a river dotted with ships. They passed the occasional rice paddy where rows of sprouts swayed in the breeze. They passed sumac trees, cherry trees, and zelkova trees, and marigolds, irises, and dandelions, and guelder roses. They came upon a wild peony tree, which made them linger for a while. She captured every view outside her palanquin's window by heart, thinking that she might never see such sights again. Okay, interesting, very beautiful writing here. So, you viewer at home, pause and comment below which book of these 5 you think will be at the top of the ranking. And once you submit your comment, come back and let's see if you're correct. So I'm going to go from number 5 least to number 1 the most. I think number 5 definitely is going to be Titan's Curse. It's the third book in the series, and the first paragraph of it is not doing the heavy work of like the first book of the series or even just a standalone book. It is not trying to entice you because it being a third book, it assumes that you already know that you want to keep reading this series. And so I think because of that, the first paragraph wasn't that amazing. And so that's why I'm putting it as fifth. For number four, I'm going to say Running Out of Time by Margaret Peterson Haddix. I think that it is a children's book and it establishes everything pretty quickly. But the writing wasn't anything flowery. It wasn't anything interesting, but definitely set up the conflict pretty quickly. And so I'll give that merit there. Hey, these kids are sick. And also brings this question of like, who are these kids to this family and why is this a thing to talk about? But it's still kind of not as amazing. So it's going in number four. At number three, this is difficult now because the last three are really, really good. But number three, I will have to say, is The Court Dancer by Kyung-Suk Shin. I think it does a really good thing to describe the situation, describe the location, very interesting details. However, the majority of it is just listing out different plants and things that this character sees and saying, oh, this is the last time I'm going to see all of this beautiful stuff, which is really nice. However, it is just listing a lot of different things, and so it's not trying to do anything interesting with the language, but it's still very beautiful with it. Does that make sense? Which is why it's going in number three. Now, the top two is between The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy and The Best American Science Fiction Fantasy of 2016, edited by Karen Joy Fowler. That being represented by Sofia Samatar's opening paragraph. And I think, for me, the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race season quick to judge tag is The Ministry of Utmost Happiness. Yay! Congratulations, you're a champion. Greatest of them all, you're a champion. There you go. I think that Sofia Samatar, first paragraph, really interesting. However, I know that it's not representative of the entire book because it's a anthology. And so it's going to not be wholly representative of what the book is. However, it's a good enticing to the anthology. The Ministry of Utmost Happiness starts similarly to The Court Dancer, sort of listing out things that are happening, but it adds a little bit more of literature with it, a little bit more interesting playing around with language, with imagery. I really like the line, "She felt the gentle grip of their talons like an ache in an amputated limb." I think that's very interesting. And I know that there's going to be more of this type of writing in the rest of the book. Arundhati Roy is an amazing writer. And so that, for me, is why this book wins the Too Quick to Judge tag. For winning the Quick to Judge tag, the Ministry of Utmost Happiness wins a lifetime supply of Anastasia Beverly Hills cosmetics to bring out the beauty inside you, a gold scepter and crown from Empit Accessories, and $100,000. Just kidding. You're just the next book that I'm going to read, which is good because I just finished a book today. So tomorrow I'll be starting The Ministry of Utmost Happiness by Arundhati Roy. Because of it winning, I will read out the synopsis for you. The Ministry of Utmost Happiness is a dazzling new novel by the internationally celebrated author of The God of Small Things. My favorite book. Where is it? It's around here somewhere. Look at her. Love her. It is an aching love story and a decisive remonstration, a story told in a whisper, in a shout, through unsentimental tears, and sometimes with a bitter laugh. Each of its characters is indelibly tenderly rendered. Its heroes are people who have been broken by the world they live in and then rescued, patched together by acts of love and by hope. The tale begins with Anjum, who used to be Aftab, unrolling a threadbare Persian carpet in a city graveyard she calls home. We encounter the old, unforgettable Tilo and the men who loved her, including Musa, sweetheart and ex-sweetheart, lover and ex-lover. Their fates are as entwined as their arms used to be and always will be. We meet Tilo's landlord, a former suitor and now an intelligence officer posted to Kabul, And then we meet the two Miss Gibbons. The first, a child born in Srinagar and buried in its overcrowded martyrs' graveyard. The second, found at midnight, abandoned on a concrete sidewalk on the heart of New Delhi. As this ravishing, deeply humane novel braids these richly complex lives together, it reinvents what a novel can do and can be. The Ministry of Utmost Happiness demonstrates on every page the miracle of Arundhati Roy's storytelling gifts. Congratulations. Claps, claps, claps all around. Thank you again so much to the Reading Wordsmith for tagging me in this tag. This was really fun. I got to play around with the books here. And, I have this list of books that I have to read, and what I like to do is just take the earliest one and keep reading from that, so it goes down the line. But this helps shake it up a little bit, and honestly, I've been really excited to read The Ministry of Utmost Happiness, and so I'm looking forward to that. In the description below, I also will have a link to her video, so go check out her video on her channel, spread some love, and I've also tagged some booktubers, friends of mine, that would like to see do this tag. Sounds like a really fun tag. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Share with your friends. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to be passionate, and I'll see you later.